Don helped me by asking the right questions, by caring, made me feel comfortable that he didn't have any other agenda other than to see what it was that I was trying to accomplish, where I was, and how he can help me get there.
I'll keep pulling you forward towards everything it is that you say you want. That's my commitment to you. Consider growth as a way of being in the world. What would it mean if growth, your personal growth, was your very highest priority? Let's look at what that would mean to you and what I mean by growth. That's a big word. What does that even mean? And then how would you go about it? What would first steps be? If there's a shift here, what would the first steps be to make that shift? So consider this. Everything that you have, everything you've created in your job, your career, your relationships, just the way you feel every day, your habits, all of it comes from your own thinking, your own habits of thought. And you began all that when you were about 1 year old, and you tried to figure it out as you went along, and you've ended up being you. Here you are today, you're you, wherever you are, if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And everything that you have, everything that you experience is a result of what you have inside of you, your own thinking, your own habits, your own beliefs. Whatever you've grown to in here has created where you are out here. So what if you want something more? What if you look up and you're 60 years old, you want more energy, you want better relationships, you want better health, you want fulfillment, you want to find your purpose again, whatever it is, or you're 30, you're trying to create a career or a business, and you're already working too hard. If there's a higher way of living, higher in all ways, spiritual, physically, mentally, how do you get there? Well, you've got to grow inside. You can't grow to that higher level on the outside without growing to that higher level on the inside. You just cannot get there from here. It has to come from the inside out. It must be constrained by your own thoughts, beliefs, and habits. I'll give you a couple quick stories. A client, 40 years old, great young man, has a good business, relatively small business, but successful, making a good living, also working too hard, stressed, and just can't get over the hump. If we go back to when we began, he was just in a place, been there for a few years, and just unable to get on to more growth in his business and, better money situation, just less pressure, not work so hard, and less stress around the house and all those things. I mean, a lot of you have been in that place and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So a year and change later, he's doubling his business, and did double his business, and still growing like crazy. I visited his office, this has been 2 or 3 years ago, and that was 2 or 3 years after we had worked together. And it was amazing, just the physical difference. And he's a different person. He's just much more peace. He's just much more clear, a totally different person. And I'm going to say it again. He couldn't have gotten there on the outside alone. He was trying, but he couldn't. He grew on the inside. He did the work. He healed up some things. He cleared some things out. And then the whole world began to blossom around him. Got another one. This is about a 50-year-old guy, business owner, CEO, good-sized business, and angry, frustrated, can't get the world to do what he wants it to do, can't seem to hit his financial targets in his business, stressed and just busy, just running full out hard, no time at all the time. And so, another year and a half from then, and the whole world has changed. He and I are sitting there talking about what he's going to do with the time that he has, the capacity that he's created. Things like starting to work out again and take care of himself, which he had been neglecting for some years. That didn't happen just by itself. He had to grow from the inside out. He changed the way he was thinking. He cleaned up some old stuff, shifted a lot. He's doing the work. He's making his own growth a priority, which impacts his peace of mind, his time. His business is growing like crazy. His home, his marriage, his kids, everything. But it has to come from the inside out. And when it does, well, the outside part starts to be kind of a given. That gets kind of easy. The difficult becomes easy. I don't mean it's falling off a log, but you just see the world in such different terms once you start getting out of your own way and finding that clarity and seeing those next steps more clearly. So that's what it might mean to you. Something in there, something in those stories is there for you. But what do I mean by growth? What is that? So we could talk about spiritual, physical, business. We could talk about it in a lot of different ways. But just think about a higher way of living in the world. Think about learning who our authentic self really is and living from there, where there's peace and clarity and possibility. We've cleaned up a lot of those old thoughts. We've healed up a lot of those old wounds. That's walking through life differently. That's growth. That's expansion. That's creation. I know that's a little fuzzy. I know that's a little intangible. And I know you understand the thrust of what I'm saying. There's plenty of specifics for any of us. We can unpack that. I can sit with you. We can unpack that and put 1 through 10 right out on the table. But it's really changing how you be in the world, how you think, how you operate, what your priorities are. That's the growth I'm talking about. So how would you go about that? How would you get started? Well, it's like everything else. You got to choose. You got to opt in. If it's still your 14th priority, you're not going to be doing a lot of intentional growing. This is kind of squishy in the first place, which makes it not easy to grab onto. So you got to look at this and say, maybe there's something for me, because I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of not being able to get some of the things that I really want and just sort of pushing them aside and, going about my work and my business and my day every day. Now that I slowed down a little bit, I do want to grow. I do want those things. So you got to choose. You got to opt in and slow down. That's a good way to get started, right? I mean, our brains run way too fast and way too full. What if you created 30 minutes a day? And maybe you can't do that all at once, but if you had 30 minutes every day that was just dedicated time, your highest priority to grow. And maybe at first you're not ready to choose into this grand thing that I'm describing. Maybe you could just choose into an investigation. I'll do 30 minutes a day, 4 days a week for a month, and I'm going to read, and I'm going to think, and I'm going to slow down. I'm going to let out on a piece of paper all the things that I would like to have that I don't have. I'm going to let out on another piece of paper things that are holding me back, the things that I believe are in my way. By the way, about 75% of those are your own thoughts and your own habits, so be sure and get that out on the page. What if you took some time to just let all this be and let it out in front of you and read a few books? Go to my website, DonScottCoach.com. I've got about 65 articles, blog posts. You might find something in there that'll help you. But you just get those juices going, and you just consider the possibility that could be there for you. This is big stuff. This is walking through life differently. This is the opportunity to create all those things you really want that you just haven't had the time for, or haven't had the focus, or haven't believed you deserved or could have. So this chance, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, to just slow down. I mean, the only time we have is right now. Use your right now and let yourself grow.